Alright, hello guys, and it's me again, obviously, and I've now up to 10 subscribers. Hello. If you're new to this, anyway, I'm saying hello to you, and where I left off. Shigaraki entered the USJ with the Nomu and all the villains. Aizawa does the same to as he does in the anime and the manga, telling 13 to protect the children, or to protect the kids, and he jumps down to face the villains. Uraraka, Deku, Momo, Yadorozu, and all the others still get teleported away, but I'm going to switch it up. Deku actually gets put in the mountain area, and Uraraka takes no, and no. I'm just gonna scratch that. He goes where he should have been with Mineta and Suyu, and yeah, he falls into the water. Sees a villain, one of those shark villains, as he swims towards him. He falls, pushes him away, then starts swimming upwards. Not not seeing Suyu because he was looking up at the surface of the water. Suyu grabbing him with with her tongue and slinging him up onto the boat. Then she climbs up the side. No Mineta in this one. So that still happens the same. They come up with a plan. Deki says, I can jump that far with my ability, with my power, so all you need to do is worry about yourself. I'll be fine. See you still commenting about, yeah, but what are we going to do about the villains? I'm sure they just won't let us jump over to land without any problem. Deku sort of just grins to himself, then says, you forget I can shoot electricity out of my hands, right? So he ponders this, then says, oh yeah, you do have that ability. Then suddenly the boat gets cut in half, like it did in the anime as well, because the villains are getting impatient. Deku and Suyu, or Sue as she likes to be called, jump. Suyu misjudges her jumping and almost lands in the water. Deku just force pushes her to the safe area of dry land as he shoots electricity out of one of his hands, and force pushes himself with his other. The electricity hitting the water and frying the villains, not killing them, just making them go unconscious. And them making it to land. See you comment saying that lightning is very powerful, but also asks, do you actually have a quirk or is it something different? Deku just gulping and saying, "No, it is definitely a quirk." See you picking up on the gulp because it was pretty much loud enough for people to hear. Says, "Okay then," and they both see Aizawa getting himself pummeled by the Nomu, him trying to erase its quirk, for then it to slam his arm onto the floor, breaking it. Shigaraki sees Deku and Tsuyu, and tries to disintegrate Tsuyu's head, but Deku force pushes him quite strongly away, saving Tsuyu's life. Tsuyu saying thank you to Deku. He says that's alright. But I think you should now leave. This is going to get very dangerous, and your quirk isn't particularly good on land. Him just standing up properly. Remember, he is 6'1". No, just 6 foot. Sorry. And Ida has gone to go and get All Might. He stands up and walks. No, just stands up and starts walking to Aizawa. The gnome Moo just standing there. Shigaraki then getting up saying, "Nomu, kill that brat." Nomu charging, but before it can even land a hit, the Nomu goes flying backwards. And I'm going to say this, it actually hits Kurogiri. Because let's say Kurogiri was distracted with something else for a brief second and didn't see the Nomu flying right at him. Don't ask me how that works. And yeah. Shigaraki goes for Deku again, but this time is met with lightning to the knees, paralyzing his knees for a bit, making him stumble and fall. Him starting to scratch his neck even while he's on the floor, saying he's cheating, he's cheating, he's cheating. Deku just looking at him as he's saying, "You're cheating, you're cheating, you're cheating." Saying, "So you're a man child." Nanomu getting up and Kurogiri, no, not Kurogiri, Shigaraki saying, "Nomu, kill this brat." Nomu charging at Deku, not wanting to waste the effort of using the force again to push him back, simply pushes Shigaraki away, coincidentally near Kurogiri, as Deku jumps up into the air and does a full on front flip. And if you've watched watched something on the Old Republic where Darth Malgus enters the Jedi Temple and the Sith warrior jumps over some rubble, then ground pounds the floor, yeah, that's what he does to the Nomu. This taking the Nomu off balance, but not enough to knock him over. Throws a punch, and it actually does connect with Deku's arm, because Deku put his arms up, or put one of his arms up, that Nomu's fist actually hitting and not breaking his arm, but breaking the metal armor plating over his arm. Him saying, Deku saying, sorry, saying that you have actually hit me. Nobody has ever done that before. This will be interesting. But let's see how much damage you can take. Those two start having a fight. Deku just jumping out the way, using force push, then using force lightning. Shigaraki getting very annoyed, but kind of grows to respect Deku a bit. And this is going to have a bit more of a punch, should I say. So yeah, Deku continues fighting the Nomu for a little while longer. Him starting to get very bored, because all the Nomu does is track him, throw a punch constantly. Then, if he jumps out the way, the Nomu just jumps up to him and tries to punch him, just to get force pushed away. That went on for a few minutes. Bakugo tried to interfere, but ended up getting, like, pardon the language, bitch slapped away. And yeah, they continued the fight. Eventually, when Deku lands back on the floor after doing a backflip, the Nomu lands as well, creating a small imprint of his fist in the ground as he full on sprints towards Deku. Deku just putting his right hand on his left pelvis, attaching his lightsaber, bringing it across to his right side, and activating it. Now, the lightsaber noise could be heard through a few people. Shigaraki looking at him, saying, "Ha, what is that going to do?" The Nomu has shock absorption, instant regeneration. Deku just said, "Yeah, but there's one thing that you've missed. The brain's exposed, so if I destroy the brain, the thing can't move." And Deku instantly swiping upwards with his lightsaber, severing the head in two. Nomi just stops, walks off for a bit more, then just falls over. Shigaraki getting even more annoyed, saying, "What are the rest of you waiting for? Go get him. It's just a fluke." As the remaining villains actually do run towards Deku, trying to actually kill him. What Deku does, he doesn't use any of his force powers whatsoever, or his lightsaber, just uses good old fist fights. I'm going to say this, before he went to USJ, he actually did get a bit of a combat trainer to teach him how to do a martial arts trainer, so he can learn how to do martial arts. He's not good at the martial arts for a while, but when it came to the actual villains, he raked face. Shigaraki just even more annoyed, more annoyed than impressed now. Says, "Kurogiri, get us the hell out of here." After A few minutes, well, after he said that, All Might walks in with a big scowl on his face, saying, "No need to fear, because I am here." Him seeing that everything's already been taken care of, so his scowl turns into a bit of a smile, but he also sighs at the same time. As Kurogiri and Shigaraki get away, Deku sort of walking up to Aizawa, checking his pulse. Aizawa's actually still breathing, so Deku just picks him up in a sort of like uh, just slings him over his shoulder, over both of his shoulders, and carries him up the stairs. The medical personnel, well, the ambulance crews, police, all turn up, take Aizawa to the hospital. They check people over. They tried to check Deku over to see if he's hurt due to the damage on his his armor. He says, "No, I'm alright. You only just dented the armor." Whatever that thing was, I think that villain called it a Nomu, tried to punch me smack in the face, but I blocked it with my arm. But only managed to damage the armor over my arm, so I'm good. The medical personnel insisting. Deku sort of doing a Jedi mind trick, saying, "I do not need medical attention." Then repeating, saying, "You do not need medical personnel, medical assistance," and walking off to go and look at the others. Now, a lot of people are getting very suspicious of him because of his power and how quickly he soloed something as powerful as a Nomu. So All Might starts asking him questions about, okay, start talking. That power, as these students say, the power that you have is something altogether. Do you work with somebody who gives you more power, like All for One? Him sort of letting All for One's name slip a bit. Him realizing quickly that he accidentally said something like that. Covers his mouth, then says, "You know what, forget it. Forget you even heard me say that." Deku sort of saying, "No, I do not work for this guy called All for One. And I'm not telling you what my power is, because I've already told Principal Nezu, and there's one other student who knows about my power, and I'm keeping their name a secret. Principal Nezu knows my secret, but I've told him to keep that on the down low until I'm ready to tell everybody my power. What my power is, and I will say this, it is not a quirk. Rather, I let people think that it is a quirk." All Might being surprised that he doesn't actually have a quirk, but he's that powerful without one, sort of asks, doesn't know, actually doesn't ask him why doesn't he just tell everybody that he doesn't have a quirk, but he has a power instead. Then just brushes that thought aside and attends to everybody else. everybody having 2 weeks off, Deku meets up with Uraraka, goes into a forest this time to teach her, and he teaches her all about combat, hand-to-hand combat that he's learnt so far, and also shows her his lightsaber and teaches her how to use it if he ever loses it and she finds it. He teaches her how to use it, but he also tells her to use it only as a last resort. Her agreeing. And a day before he goes back to school, or goes back to UA, he goes into his old parents' bedroom and sort of just rummages through things because he's actually curious of why they actually left altogether. Him stumbling upon a holo recording. I'm actually going to try and do a voice. Oh boy. And if you actually remember in the last video I said that Deku's father actually had a friend called Darth Ma. I don't believe I actually did say that, but I'm saying it now. I'm going to try and do a Darth Ma impression. Fingers crossed. Dear friend, I hope this message finds you very well. This is Darth Ma. I hope you're alive out there somewhere. We tracked a signal to this sector. This sector has been untouched by the Republic, or Empire for that matter. I hope you're still alive. As we said when we were acolytes in the Sith Academy on Korriban, we will not leave each other behind, because we are brothers, not by blood, but by actions. We will be leaving a token force of 150 people on a desolate planet in this system to keep an eye on the population. I want you and your wife, apparently, to run this facility. But be aware, I will be personally coming to this system to get you myself. And I believe Lord Wrath himself will be appearing. I don't need to tell you who he is. After all, two brothers shouldn't be fighting on board a Dark Council ship. I'll leave you both to talk, and may the Force serve you till we arrive. We'll be behind the planet's moon, waiting for you. As always, my friend, it's finally good to have you back among the living and not among the dead. End transmission. Okay, I'm not doing that again. Not unless I nailed it first time. So yeah, sorry for the gravelly voice, and if you didn't hear that, please leave a comment down below saying you didn't hear that at all. Or if you did, then I'll just speak normally next time. Deku sort of seeing the message, then saying, so they're not going to play Warriors, they're actually just building a station to watch over Earth. And he sort of wonders, who's this Lord Wrath? If you ever played the Sith Empire, Sith warrior, you'll then know who the Empire's Wrath is, or the Emperor's Wrath. And him just carrying on his day. He goes back to school and goes back to UA the next day. Everybody's sort of talking, still a little confused of why they were attacked at the USJ. And in walks Aizawa, covered in bandages. Him saying, "Shut up." And he says, "Right, you've got two things to do today. One, get yourself ready for the sports festival. And two, this is going to be a very important task. Choose a class representative." Naturally, everybody gets excited about the sports festival, and nobody really argues who's going to be the class representative. Everybody just looks towards Deku, him just looking at everybody saying, "What? Don't look at me. I'm not being class rep." So everybody has a discussion amongst themselves, eventually going to Ida and Momo Yarirozu. And lunch comes around. Oh no, wait, sorry, they should have chose a class rep for the USJ. Yeah, I am dumb. Sorry. Yeah, Ida, Momo Yarirozu. There you go. Sorry about that. And yeah, quickly moving on before I make even more of a fool of myself. The sports festival. All the classes get, well, called in. Deku gets told to come up and give him a speech. Deku just saying, it's not all about winning, it's all about showing people that you are capable of being heroes, so give it your all. And he just says plus ultra, and just walks off, back down the stairs to the crowd. Everybody just sort of giving a round of applause. Comes into the running part of the running part of the sports festival. Uh, Todoroki does freeze everybody in the tunnel. Deku just sort of like breaking the ice because he's force sensitive, so he can just simply force push the floor and break himself out. And then he starts to jump from wall to wall, sort of having to do that because everywhere's jam packed. Aizawa and the present Mike sort of commenting on how everybody's already stuck at the front door because they're all rushing. Deku finally gets out of the door and still has problems with the ice because obviously everybody else eventually catches up and gets past the ice. Then he gets past the ice when he reaches the robots. Seeing that Todoroki was not leaving anything to chance, he just simply force speeds himself to almost Ida's speed to catch up to others. Then there's the jumping portion, not the jumping portion, the balancing portion where you have to go from platform to platform. Deku just force jumping all the way across, because the force, landing, then continue to run, eventually catching up with Bakugo and Todoroki. Him sort of being a bit of a smart person, realizes that they're too focused on each other and notice him speed past them. But he also notices that they're above fake mines, so he decides to force jump to the center, missing a mine in the process, then force jumps to the end, overtaking Bakugo and Todoroki. Both of them seeing this hooded figure land in front of them, then start running, makes them both equally pissed, and they try even harder to catch up, but Deku runs through the gate and gets 1,000 points. Same happens as usual, with May being May, Deku getting the one with Dark Shadow, Uraraka, and yeah, that's it. Then it comes to the combat portion, everything goes as usual. Shinzo tries to brainwash Deku to make him leave, but Deku just says, "You will leave this you will leave this arena, well, ring." And Shinzo, not having a strong enough will to resist, just walks out. Deku wins. Now, Bakugo with Uraraka goes a bit differently. As I said, Uraraka was training with Deku for a bit, and as I said in the one where it's the heroes versus villains, how she got distracted by saying Deku was cute and all. Now that he's actually watching her in a fight, she decides she's going to prove how strong she is by trying to push Bakugo out of the ring. She kind of succeeds, but he just simply jumps himself back in using explosions. Then Uraraka just grabbing him with the force, putting him onto the floor outside of the ring, saying, "You're out now because your feet are touching the floor." She actually wins, really pissing off Bakugo. Then it becomes a fight between Deku and Todoroki. That goes pretty much the same. The fight between Deku and Uraraka go as they've both passed and got to the final round. It goes a bit differently because Deku knows of her weaknesses and how much she hasn't trained. She may have trained under him, but he knows a lot more stuff that she doesn't know yet. So he says, "None of that. Hand-to-hand combat only. To give you more of a fair chance. Because I barely know hand-to-hand combat myself." Her agreeing. And both of them continue on for several minutes, going on for nearly an hour. Eventually, Uraraka wins. Deku gets second place, Toguro gets third, and Uraraka gets first. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it here. Leave a like, comment down below, and hopefully you see me next time. Peace. Oh, and leave a comment.